Hey y'all, Daniel Aaron here, your guide to vibrant living. And this story might be a little bit racy for some. I'm going to tell you how it was. And by the way, these stories that I share and the lessons from them are also part of what I share in our Sangha, in the membership. So if you're interested in more, that's a place where you can find out more and how to apply them more in your life. And now onward to the story. This was going back almost 20 years ago. I was, for the first time, at a center, ashram, university, all names are true, called Humaniversity in Holland. And I had gone there because I heard that their therapies and their trainings and their work was very intense and very effective. And lots of stories I could tell you from there. I was completely shocked, blown away by what I experienced. I kicked and struggled for a while when I got there, and then had some of the most powerful breakthroughs of my entire life while I was there. One of the components of the way they work with people is that they put a high emphasis on dating. And in other places I explain the rules of dating and the fascinating learnings that come from that. In any case, part of why they put the emphasis on dating is so that we have love. And dating, by the way, just defined simply as an agreement to spend time with someone else. And a lot of the work they do is very confrontative. It's a little bit coming out of the school of the 60s, 70s, that sort of primal, confrontative, perturbation types of work, which used to be somewhat how I work too. And although that's evolved for me now, it's a much more gentle pull sort of work that I offer with students and clients. In any case, the relationship aspect there, and it's also called Hugging University, in some ways is a good balancer or offset to the parts that are quite difficult. There's a lot of challenge coming to us there, confronting some of the deeper places inside ourselves. Well, I was toward the end of my first 2 weeks there, the tourist program, and by this point I was just flying so high. I had seen so much, discovered so much, let go of so much, really hit some amazing epiphanies, some of the clearest, highest points of my life, what you might call samadhi. Not samadhi, sorry. It'll come back to me, the word. It means a glimpse of enlightenment. And in the last couple days I was there, I had connected with a woman named Catherine, who was also in the tourist program. She, however, was there because of an addiction, and they have a very powerful addiction recovery program there. Very powerful, very effective. And for a lot of the addicts that go there, it's really like a last resort, and the consequences are very high. It's something like, get clean, get straight, or the likelihood of OD or not making it is very high. So that's part of, I think, why their standards are so high and why they have such a great effective rate. In any case, my last couple days, Catherine and I had connected, and she was a beautiful, beautiful soul. She'd been there for a couple months already, and she was coming out of some heavy-duty heroin addiction, and beautiful, sweet woman who had had a really rough time in a lot of levels. And it was actually suggested that I was the first person the therapist allowed her to connect with, and they encouraged it in a way because we were a good match, and it was good for her to have some sort of gentle, affirming love. And it was a very sweet connection. I'm super grateful for it even now. And we'd spent a couple nights together, and then agreed that on my last night we would also be together, and except this was on a Friday night, and she, continuing the program, was starting a new group that night. I was off from, say, 2 p.m. that afternoon. So we said that I would go to bed in my bed space, and then she would come find me when she finished the group. Okay, cool. So, very unpredictable how the groups go there and the tempo and the timing of it. You might be up all night, you might not sleep at all, you might get an hour's sleep. It's part of the effectiveness of the therapies there is that lack of predictability requires a high level of trust, which eventually I got. I didn't have it when I first got there. In any case, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight, 1, group still in session. Not a huge surprise, that's the way it goes there oftentimes. So I figure, all right, well, go to bed. So I go up into my bed space, and I guess I was kind of drifting out, and I kind of wake up, and I'm laying there, and it's like a loft, and she is there, and I see her. I kind of look over, I'm a little groggy, sleepy, and she says, "Hey," and I was like, "Hi," and then I realize she's standing there on the ladder, like half of her torso up. And so I'm kind of groggy, puzzled, like, what's going on? You coming in? And she says, well, that depends on you. So I'm saying, okay. And she said, I have to tell you something. So, okay. And then I'm kind of processing it already. And I say, oh, in the group tonight was part of the group where you with somebody else, meaning sexually. And here's the racy part. Part of the therapy and part of the structure there sometimes is that they actually encourage people to engage sexually as part of the therapies. Now, I know that's opening a huge can of worms, and we could have a whole great discussion about that, and perhaps we will sometime. And fascinating topic of monogamy and non-monogamy and how sexuality relates to therapies. In any case, we'll just go on for the moment. So it comes to me. I said, so were you with somebody in the group? And she looks at me. She's like, well, actually, 2 guys. And so I'm kind of taking this in. And then she says, so, it's your last night, and I'd really like us to be together. And I totally understand if you don't want me to. So I'm still taking this in. And then she says to me, well, you remember when we were first together 2 nights ago? I said, yeah. And she said, and you had been with Marianne a night or 2 before that, right? And I said, yeah. So, and then she said, well, so how long does it make it okay? For me it's been, an hour. And, when we got together it was a day or 2. And what is the amount? What difference does it really make the amount of time? And she wasn't pushy at all, right? She wasn't forcing. Though when she said it, it just hit me, and that was where my mind blew up. I couldn't really come up with any reason to say, yeah, you know what? That's too short of a time. So no, I don't want to open my heart to you. I don't want to open my heart to you because your heart was open with somebody else's a little while ago. Maybe. I don't even know what her situation was with him. So I just sat with it for a moment, and I said, yeah, you're right. And then I said, did you take a shower? And she laughed too. She said, of course. And so then she came into bed, and my last night there, we had a really sweet time together, and indeed we opened our hearts to each other. And perhaps that's the real reason that they put such an emphasis on dating there, is because what is life all about, really? Like Osho Rajneesh said, the purpose of all education is to learn to love better. And I had gone there to educate, to learn to love better. I think that's what we're all here for. And so the fact that we had that chance to open up, and for all of us, the more we're able to open our hearts regardless of circumstances. And I'm not suggesting, we do it in ways that get us hurt. And we live in a time where there's more division, polarization than any time in recent history. Right? There's a lot of division. And yoga, and every spiritual tradition, the point is the destination is oneness. And when we open our hearts, we are one. And we're happy. And it feels good. All right. So, all this time later, I've never seen Catherine again. I love her and I appreciate her for the time we shared and also for the lesson that she taught me. I hope it's been entertaining and I hope it's been useful. If you're interested in joining us in the membership, let me know. And in fact, if you are, I'd be happy to have a little consultation with you to tell you a little bit more about it if you're thinking about it and to kickstart your experience so you get the most out of it. I'll put a little info down there in the comments, and if you got questions or comments, right on. I will read them. Okay, thanks y'all.